Welcome into the Ringiverse. This is, of course, the Ringers Nexus podcast feed for all things fandom. We are Cole Baby Chuck, 24 karat closer. We are Old Man Van, he of the receding hairline. We are Jomi, the explainer. Adeniran. Jomi gets the last introduction, top billing in this because his Trojans were victorious on Sunday against the LSU Tigers.
They were, huh?
Yeah. Fight on, baby! Woo! Let me tell you what I love about Jomi. This is the thing I love about Jomi.
You can stop it.
During the game, quiet as a church mouse. A bucket, a ball of nerves.
That's true.
Right, like after the game, no, this shit gets talked. I can appreciate it.
That's not true. Remember
what
when you were like, that was a good run call on third down, and I was like, it's not a good run call. They have 44 rushing yards.
Who
don't run the ball? USC.
Which run call?
I want to say when they were down 17-13, they're trying to get down the field. I'm like, bruh, why are you running the ball here? You have 44 rushing yards. Stop running the ball. That hasn't worked. That hasn't worked for 50 minutes.
Everything else worked. Along with us, we have the Midnight Collective. Aleya O'Brien Zenieris. Oh, she loves him so much. Oh, Dylan, where are you? Jonathan Kermah, who has his hair up. You got your hair up today, Jonathan Kermah. Jonathan Chocolate Drop Kermah. What is that? Is that what's his name from Black Panther? What's his face?
Killmonger.
That's not the Killmonger.
What's the kill? Where's the kill? How's the Killmonger go? The Killmonger
is it's more up and forward. It's not. Kerm got it all the way on the top.
Kerm got it all the way on top. And coming in via satellite, we have the sickliest motherfucker that's ever lived. Just like full of sickness.
Is funny.
Arjuna, the Watcher, Ramgopal. Oh. Together we are known as the Midnight Boys. I watched Black Panther over the weekend. I gotta say something here. I had my problems with Black Panther. We all know this.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking masterpiece when you compare it to like.
I had the same thought. You made me rewatch. Like I was like, I should rewatch The Dark Knight Rises, and compared to a bunch of the shit that we got, I'm like. So this is an actual movie,
bro. The Dark Knight The Dark Knight Rises when it came out. Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises has something, man. I could make
I like it.
No. Obviously, everybody likes The Dark Knight Rises, but I don't think that it gets its just due.
Here's the thing: I didn't realize how sick the opening set piece of being
on
the plane when the wings. I was just like, oh, like Nolan was actually cooking, but I feel like we were all like, it's not Heath Ledger, it's not The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But with a couple years past, I was like, oh. Motherfuckers cooking.
The movie is too long.
It's too long.
The movie is too long, and the whole last, obviously they did a specific reference to a comic run, Gotham Under Siege and all of that. That stuff, it works, but the movie does lose itself under its own weight, but it's still, it never is boring. It's never not
when
moving.
Bruce
it's good.
Climbs out of the fucking
pit.
It is like one of those.
Monster.
Can you question real quick?
Yeah.
Bruce climbs out of the pit. Like, how does he get back?
He's Bruce Wayne. I mean, I know he has no money, but like...
He has no money at that point. And I'm like, he doesn't have a passport. Maybe he has like some some Wayne Enterprises subsidiaries close.
Some contacts. He's Batman.
Yeah, he's Batman. He probably got some shit around the world.
Right? I feel like he got his money back too. He got money, man.
I mean, that's an SEC violation, right? Like, somebody's going to be like, that's fraud.
I did not realize this until I rewatched. It's been so long. I did not realize, Gordon and Bruce really, like, they passed the Harvey Dent law. Motherfuckers was locked up. They didn't give him another trial. I'm like, y'all are evil.
Yeah.
Bruce and him are evil.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Okay.
We have a lot of Joker content coming
up. Follow us on socials, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok for now. Save Jomi's job. Jomi socials.
Social going great. Hey, thank you for 30K on Twitter. Appreciate y'all. Hey, keep following, keep liking.
We're now on YouTube. You can watch every Midnight Boys, House of R, and Talk to Thrones episodes on youtube.com/@Ringverse. Like, comment, and subscribe. On Thursday, Button Mash returns to discuss Star Wars Outlaws, which is being touted as the greatest Star Wars video game of all time.
I wouldn't say that, but, it's a Star Wars game that people like, me included, but, not everything's perfect.
Why are people saying that it's so awesome and you're not as high on it.
Wait, why are we spoiling it? I thought, Jomi, you're on the episode of Button Mash.
Wow.
Let's not step on that episode.
Tune in on Thursday to find out.
I apologize. You know what that means. Gotta move on. On Friday, Mint Edition gives you their reactions to Terminator Zero, which I guess people are really into.
You guess, man. It's lighting the streets up.
Yeah. People are talking all about Terminator Zero and all of that stuff. Another great episode of Mint Edition that wasn't really discussed about whether or not Arjuna pop on, about whether or not we will want to do Terminator Zero. Arjuna.
I don't want to do Terminator
I
Zero.
definitely don't.
Then why? Get to
You
the
just
fucking
create-
episode,
Hold on,
bro.
wait a second.
Get to the episode.
Wait a second though. Here's the thing. I don't want to do it. I don't. Charles, isn't this anime?
Yeah.
Why don't you fucking pick a side? So you're telling me
Everybody thinks that an anime comes on and be like, Charles would like this. I didn't watch the Suicide Squad anime. I didn't watch Terminator Zero.
That's
I don't
different.
like any. How is it different?
Obviously, the Suicide Squad anime is going to suck. Like you can tell you liked it.
I didn't watch it. It's an isekai. I will never be there, no matter what.
I don't like when they do the DC characters or other characters in anime form.
Same. I don't like Batman. And I'm like, if I want to watch a Batman, I'm going to watch like Batman, the animated series or like the movies. I don't want an anime version of Batman.
But this Terminator Zero situation is an anime everybody likes, so you have no interest?
I don't really have much interest in the extended Terminator lore. I like the first two films. It's similar to like Aliens. Like I like the first two Aliens films. And once it keeps going, I'm just like, oh, this is just not where I want to spend my time.
You feel like it's whoring the IP after a certain extent.
A little bit. You're gonna get mad at me. Like even the Matrix, I kind of like the first Matrix and half of the second one. And once it gets too big, I'm like, oh,
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you're not wrong about that. Deepening the lore is, I'll be honest with you, it's cope for me. But at the same time, I like it. I legitimately like learning everything that you can learn about any given subject.
But you don't get there. You don't have a cap on how much lore you can keep up with.
No.
Like for me, I'm just like, I can't just be like, I know Star Wars lore and Game of Thrones lore and Star Trek and Aliens and Terminator and Lord. It's like, it's too much.
It depends on what I'm currently watching and what I'm into. Because like, I love Halo. I know a whole bunch of Halo lore. The lesser arc, the greater arc, man, like all that stuff. No, I just put words, nobody cares. But like when I'm not playing Halo, it's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna just keep it pushing.
I don't have
Move
enough
on to the next.
CPU space.
So I fall into, like right now I'm all in on Game of Thrones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I fall into different lores at different times. And then I'll get re-sparked. It's like I'll get re-sparked into the lore. I'll get re-sparked into it. Now, not everybody is like me. So if you just look at those three movies on their own, like, you know, the Animatrix is great. But if you look at those three movies on their own, you have 1.5 good movies. You just do.
Yeah.
You do. And it was very hard to understand. But once I understood it, now there's smaller things that I get into and little mini things that kind of a little bit make the worlds more palatable. Right. Like, I'm just being for real. I'm admitting what you guys are saying. I'm admitting that I watched the three movies and I'm like, yo, the last one sucks or whatever. I watched The Matrix Resurrections. I'm like, this sucks. But then I learned more and it was part of my lore journey.
Do you think that your newfound love of the Game of Thrones deep lore is making you love the TV show more or be more critical of it?
Okay, so I don't care about the TV show anymore.
Well, neither does our guy.
We're gonna talk about it. I don't care about the TV show anymore. All I care about is Prince Rhaegar Targaryen against Robert Baratheon and everything surrounding Robert's rebellion. My sweet Prince Rhaegar, I want him to be reflected and portrayed in media in some grand way. Mm-hmm. All I care about is all kinds of other shit that nobody cares about. I called Joe yesterday. I'm like, Joe, we got to figure out a way to convince them to do the Robert's Rebellion movie. And Joe gave me all of these real reasons why that's not going to happen.
Wait, give me, now I'm interested. Give me like the top 2 or 3.
Why it's not going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Robert's Rebellion story is like such an amazing story to me because it ends up being one guy fighting on a lie, one guy fighting on the truth. And when they meet in battle, both of their emotions are clashing for equal reasons. And they so believe, they so know what they're fighting over that it then shapes the entire future of a kingdom. You have like stories under that where really the houses were unifying against the Mad King and they wanted him out anyway. They wanted Rhaegar to be the king. Dorne and all of this stuff. All of these many things is really like a perfect story that's wrapped up in a love story. It's the kind of stories that really people get into and they end up living like forever. And it's kind of just background for what people would say is the more compelling story, which is the Game of Thrones itself.
The
like
Song of Ice and Fire.
The Song of Ice and Fire, the Five Kings and all that stuff. But she made a good point. The point is that in the Robert's Rebellion story, you have Tywin Lannister in the story. You have Robert Baratheon in the story. You have Jaime Lannister in the story. You have all these people in the story, and they've already been portrayed perfectly. It's like a recasting of Luke Skywalker type of thing. Yeah, they've already been portrayed perfectly. There are new characters that will come out. I mean, we didn't get very much of Jon Arryn. We didn't get any of the Mad King. Like Dany and her brother would be kids and all of that stuff. So some of that stuff doesn't matter. But there's a lot of other people. The House of Stark and the dad and the older brother, all of those people would be new characters, but there's some people that we did meet. Cersei Lannister, portrayed perfectly. And you'd have to recast them, and it might not be awesome.
I mean, but I'll be honest, you don't think, especially with George R. R. Martin's most recent blog post, it's hard for me to believe that they're never going to go back to that well.
They will.
Like, they are going to probably recast and redo Game of Thrones at some point.
They will. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Hold on, let me finish the program reminders real quick. Also on Friday, because we were talking about this is interesting. Also on Friday, the House of R continues their deep dive on Rings of Power Season 2, which, by the way, I've been fucking around with Rings of Power 2 because fucking LSU lost. Now, my brother, I have to fucking get into Lord of the Rings lore.
Wait, have you been watching the show, though?
I have never watched it. I don't like the Lord of the Rings. But so
you don't like the movies?
It's not for me.
Really?
Okay.
I'll be honest, the movies are good.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
The movies
are
good. Really good. I'm a little with Van, where like when I watch them, I'm like, I know what I'm supposed to be feeling, but it's not as cool as I wish it was.
I thought it was cool.
It's good.
You guys, it's a good movie. It's a great movie.
You guys, please don't fucking get in my face.
No,
the fucking movies are good, man.
You don't watch an extended edition?
My favorite one is the second one because it's going down.
Two Towers.
Yeah,
Two Towers is pretty good.
They're good movies. It's just not everything could be for you. It's not for me. All right, but now I have to get into it and I have to explore the lore because fucking SC1. All right, fuck you. And so today's show, we have a mailbag, some nerd news around George R. R. Martin, and some thoughts about the future of the House of the Dragon. Now, let's continue where we were at. You say that you feel like they're going to go back and redo the Game of Thrones show that we saw?
So this is like, some people might recognize this. So there was a manga and anime that's very popular called Full Metal Alchemist. But it did not get finished. So this anime basically had to do this thing where it was like, we're going to just kind of make up the back half of the story. And then a couple years later, the author had finished it. So they basically redo the entire thing. And they're just like, this is the actual ending. I don't know if Martin is ever going to finish Game of Thrones, but I would not be surprised if, as he's getting older, they're like, you know what? In 10 or 15 years, not only is HBO going to redo this series, but we are going to follow it more. This is the more faithful adaptation, where they're going to do the thing where if we start with season 1, we're going to be like, oh, we're including a lot of the stuff that we did that they never did. And we are going to either use, and I know people are like, well, that was the ending. Martin shared it with them, like, da-da-da-da. But I'm like, if you read the blog post we're about to talk about, Martin has had a lot of issues over the years about what does and doesn't get in the show. And if I'm HBO, I think they're going to kind of be like, how many more prequels can we do? Should we just try to correct probably what is one of the biggest TV mistakes almost ever?
Interesting. That would be a tremendous undertaking. I wouldn't rule it out.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and it does undo. I wouldn't rule it out. It does undo some of the best moments and some of the best performances, to Joe's point, in the history of HBO. You don't think they would take pause with that?
No, I think they would. And I'm not saying this is a slam dunk. They're absolutely going to do it. But there is a part of me where I'm like, if I'm going to be honest, I think one day Lucasfilm is probably going to recast Luke. Like, I do think, like, I'm still at this point where it's like, it might not be in 5 years, but I do think that they're going to get to these points where they're like, we have all these new fans, Game of Thrones fans, who are like, actually, we soured on the whole thing. New generations who are probably like 8, 9, 10 now, who have no relationship to the original show in the way we did. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm HBO, I'm like, we could do those last 2 seasons right.
I don't know. I mean, you could. I feel like if they were gonna like redo it, it'd probably be animated. You know, it's a different medium. You could probably get the voice actors, the people who played the role, and just have them, you know, do the voiceover. But ultimately, like, that world is so lived in. Like, we're so familiar with that show. I mean, again, that was the show for a decade. Like, the entire 2010s belongs to Game of Thrones, and so for us to just be like, let's run it back. Like going to the Wall won't be the same. It's a different wall. Going to King's Landing won't be the same. It's a different King's Landing. Going to Winterfell won't be the same. It's not the same Winterfell we know. Like, for new people, maybe, but for people who have like watched this show, know this show, go back and be like, man, this is a cheap invitation.
All I'm gonna say, if those other Game of Thrones spinoffs do not hit, I think that they are going to start looking at Rob. Because here's the thing: maybe they're like, you know what, the Rebellion. Is there any way that we can tie this into a new Game of Thrones? Like, is there any way that we could like actually like start fleshing out? And it might be a movie. It might not be a TV show, but I do think that they might start thinking of how can we go back to the story that people love and just make it far bigger?
So here's the deal. So to your point about the animated point, that's what Joe was saying about Robert's Rebellion, is if you did it animated, I personally think that would need to be on the screen. So you really get the love story and you understand the stakes and you want to see actors emoted, but you could do it animated and you could have the actors come back and voice themselves and all of that stuff. Me and Joe talked about that. The problem with what you're saying is there's one huge problem, is the Red Wedding.
Yeah.
It has to be such a surprise and it has to be so galling to people. Doing the Red Wedding over is like doing Luke, I Am Your Father over, right? So it's like, for that, it would really be audience dependent. It would really have to be a brand new audience because it was so shocking the first time you saw it. And it was the anchor of the show in such a way that doing it again would kind of be like, everybody knows what happens. It would not hit the same.
I know you didn't read these books, but HBO is already kind of doing this. It's a little different, but they're doing a whole Harry Potter TV series. And like, for me, I'm just like, we not only have the books, but we had very, very popular movies. And HBO is just like, it doesn't matter. There's a new generation of Harry Potter fans. Every single fucking year, they want something that's way more detailed. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, if the Harry Potter series does phenomenal, I do think they start thinking about this shit differently, where they're like, you know what, in 10, 15 years, we might...
Well, I feel like Harry Potter is for like a kind of like a different age group. I feel like those were the books they were reading to us in, 3rd grade, 2nd grade.
Just getting y'all on the witchcraft, huh?
I mean, well, they read chapter 1. I never.
Just go ahead. Just get.
All right,
take
when Harry Potter
kids.
came out, the black church, that was all we kept hearing. They're like, look at
oh my God, man. See, let me tell y'all something. This is the southernness in me. Everybody else was doing Harry Potter and going here. I was in my 20s already, right? When the movies was coming out. They were doing whole sermons at the church.
Yes.
Anti-Harry Potter sermons.
Do you understand?
The whole sermons. Oh, this Sunday we gonna talk about this witchcraft, and I was like, it put me off Harry a little bit. It's like
my mom. It was like a brick of cocaine she was bringing into the house. She's just like, Here's that first Harry Potter.
That sorcerer's stone
Yeah,
for
like,
you.
don't be talking about that, Church.
Chuck, I got the Harry Potter for you.
I got that sorcerer's stone for
You know what I'm saying? That third grade, they got y'all with the what did they say? Conspiling the what did they say?
They
just read the first chapter.
How do they say it? My
first.
sister be saying it. Spilala. What do they do? What do they say when they got the wand?
Expelliarmus.
Wait, that's not how you say it.
I have no clue what he was trying to say.
Expelliarmus? That's what y'all were expelling. Y'all were expelling Jesus out of your hearts is what you were doing. Expelling, like that's what y'all were expelling. Witchcraft. It's witchcraft. It's witchcraft.
Back to the point.
Before Harry Potter, fuck J.K. Rowling. Let's get back to the point.
I mean, back to the point. It's like that's for a younger audience. I think, like you said, like kids and stuff. They're not. I was again third grade. They're not reading, the George R. R. Martin books in third grade.
I'm sorry, people are still reading George R. R. Martin. Like not kids, but like
they got a lot of fucking. And it's like they're not reading that in
high school.
High school maybe, but they're not gonna read. It's like they fucking over people in Game of Thrones. They cutting dicks off. They skinning people.
Talking about skinning people.
Oh yeah,
the blog post for George R. R. Martin.
Get into it.
That's why we're talking about it.
This is why we're talking about it. So let me pull this up.
Mm-hmm.
So George R. R. Martin, I think last week, it might have been last week or a week before, was basically like, "Yo, I got some thoughts about House of the Dragon." He comes back with a blog post called "Beware the Butterflies," where I think the quote that is most telling. There are larger and more toxic butterflies to come if House of the Dragon goes ahead with some of the changes being contemplated for seasons 3 and 4. And he basically talks about the butterfly effect of some of the choices they made with Blood and Cheese. I think the biggest one that he had. Maelor?
Yeah, the biggest one was Maelor,
not being there was supposed
a character that's in Fire and Blood and not in House of the Dragon.
Yeah, and obviously Blood and Cheese, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the second season of House of the Dragon, is this big kind of dramatic thing where they make Helena choose between her kids. There were supposed to be 3 kids. There's not in the TV show. And basically George R. R. Martin is like, here's the butterfly effect that happens when you pluck out this character. And he talks about how Ryan Condal, they had a conversation where he's like, you don't understand. Like if we add another kid, there's going to be production issues. It's going to be slower. There's going to be more money.
Budget.
And what I want to ask you then, is this just kind of what Martin has done for years, where he is always kind of like taking little pot shots when they change almost any aspect of his book? Or do you think that this is something larger of a creator being like, this thing that I built has become so profitable and so fucking big that the changes are coming so fast that I have less and less control of it?
It shows a major glitch in the creative bridge and the creative foundation of the Game of Thrones universe. Major glitch. A major glitch that he would do this. Not necessarily that he has a problem with it, right?
But he's had problems in the past. He's
had problems in the past.
Mm-hmm.
This was a very teased, very choreographed, direct shot at the creatives making the show. That will make people be more critical of the future of House of the Dragon than they would have been. It's one thing to say they did something and I didn't like the way that they did it, or this is the way I envisioned this, or I wrote this for a specific reason. It's a different thing to say they did this and it's going to weaken the show down the road. You are going to see a lesser version of what I created because they did this. Mm-hmm. It threatens the future of the show. And I don't remember seeing someone, I'm sure it's happened, that had crafted a universe come and say what they're doing is bad, or what they've done is not what I wanted. But in the future, this show is not going to be as good. That's pretty significant to me.
Do you think it's also an original sin where when they start making the Game of Thrones show, because the books are not complete and they had to start not making up stuff. Obviously they worked with Martin to make sure like the ending was around what he wanted. Do you think that that's like not a butterfly effect, but it is like a domino of now HBO and the creatives are just like, what do you want us to do? We can, this is already part of what this series is, that not only we are going to change, and obviously in any adaptation, a lot of things change, whether it's movie or TV, but they're like, dog, we already know it works.
Jomi?
Well, they don't really, this is rare-ish for a creator to have so much, say, and power things, to your point, because it's not done, right?
Yeah.
Normally, they release the books, then people go like, oh, we'll watch the movie, watch the TV show, and then it get made, and then the writer afterwards goes, that was great, or that sucked. For him to have this kind of power, this kind of say, is kind of unprecedented, really. And so he's wielding it like anybody would, right? Like, imagine you wrote something, and you were really proud of it, and then they made it into a multi-billion-dollar show, and then it was kind of whack. They kind of messed you up. You would talk.
I'm different than George R.R. Martin.
How so?
Because I would create it, and of course I would care, but nigga, I would be somewhere on a boat. I'd be watching this shit.
Would you have finished Winds of Winter?
Probably not. If
Winds of Winter is never getting if we want to be real simple.
The worst thing for that getting finished is all of the success of Game of Thrones, because number one, he is now fabulously wealthy, right? Which the books had sold millions of copies before this, but now he's fabulously wealthy, right? He wrote Fire and Blood when he could have been writing Winds of Winter, right? But also now he is spending a lot of creative and emotional juice in critiquing what's on the screen rather than putting it into the story that he needs to finish. Now, look, you guys, I am just starting to read all of this stuff. I'm not an expert. While I was talking to Joe was telling me that there might have been some different holes that he's written himself into and some things that he can't really write himself out of. So it might not be as easy to finish as people are making it out to be. However, once again, I'll say this. To see him doing this tells me that he at least still cares about the universe. Yeah. He still cares about it.
It reminds me of Lucas, where it's like, as Lucas when it goes to Disney, when Star Wars goes to Disney, you can tell that even though Force Awakens was really, really popular, it's like, oh, I gave away my child, someone else raised it, and now it's making $1 billion.
That's different though, because he had told the story that he wanted to tell. Lucas created the lore and then the movies as well. Yeah. So he was the man all the way up. The Disney thing he's exalted in a different way. It was almost like a retirement package for him, right? He told the first 3 movies, right? And then the prequels. He came back and he's like, I did what I wanted to do. If somebody else wants to do something else, I'll sell it. You guys go ahead and do it. It's not what I would have done, but I've told the story that I wanted to tell.
But he's still a little salty that it's not hit. Like, I get the sense for Martin that he's a little salty too.
No, Martin is different. Martin is not someone who's making the show.
True.
So Martin came up with the ideas and made this whole deal. And then the compromises that have to happen from his situation to go from his ideas to go from book to movie, he has no control over those. Lucas was controlling Star Wars in every single way besides the books and all of that stuff that was coming out.
Extended universe.
But they still had to run that stuff by him. He still had to give his blessing on that. Yeah. Right? He was the top dog in that. Martin is not the top dog. Somebody else gets to really more or less interpret his work and then put it on the screen in a different medium that's almost brand new in a way. And he kind of just has to eat it. They need him. They needed him to finish out the Game of Thrones series, but he really has no control over what they do. Whereas George Lucas, up to the point that we got to Force Awakens, could say no, and then it was no.
So let me ask you this, because I saw this, people were talking about this on Twitter, and this theory has been around for a while, so it's not new. Is there any part of you that thinks that Martin is also, I think Joe is right. Like, I've heard that before, that he's written himself into a couple holes that to dig himself out of is just almost impossible. But do you think it's the other thing where it's like, actually the ending of Game of Thrones is so similar to what he wanted to do, and when people hated it, he's he's written himself into a corner now where it's just like, oh, people don't really fuck. The way Brand happened, people don't really fuck with. The way the Danny and John shit happened, people don't fuck with. In a book, you can obviously make it better because you have more room. But do you think he's also like, do I even want to go down a bunch of these paths anymore because the earth is so salted?
I mean, he could. I mean, the problem was that it was 6 episodes, right? If it's, the show's probably like, 70, 77 episodes or like 60-some episodes, somewhere around there. If the show's 80 episodes, we're talking about it like it's one of the greatest shows of all time. Like,
it is one of the greatest shows.
I mean, people would argue that the last 2 seasons
People
like
need to grow.
Fuck all that.
If people
no,
think about it,
nah, fuck all that.
Like,
do
was
people
Jordan
understand that 90% of TV shows end in a shitty place?
You run out of story, man. It's like
I'm
there are
not there,
very few. You run out of stories. Anyone who doesn't think that Game of Thrones is one of the greatest television series, television events, television movements of all time, you're bugging. I get that it didn't end on a high note, but to Charles's point, very few shows do.
Yeah, if there's more, if like we spend more time with Dany and having her like into her psyche when she like finally loses it, it's different than like, oh, she was in Dragonstone. Now she's burning people like King's Landing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it makes more sense.
But if Martin, and I don't know if he did, if Martin was just like, actually, Arya's going to kill the Night King, if he sees that shit on screen, he's like, damn, people ain't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He might be like, ah.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier. You said that you wouldn't sell. So if Disney called for Lathan Films, I was like, yo, $4 billion.
Wait a minute. Who said I wouldn't sell?
You said you wouldn't sell. Lucas.
No, I definitely wouldn't. I didn't say that.
That's what you run the tape back. You said you wouldn't
No,
sell.
I didn't hear
I
that.
wouldn't sell. Nigga, I'm selling. What?
Because I was like,
I like
$4 million?
No. I'm selling. Y'all don't understand, man. I know. If I said that, I apologize. It's over. But no. I definitely would.
It wouldn't even take. Here's the thing, Jomi. It wouldn't even take $1 billion. Like if I create anything, bro, give me a couple $100 million.
After he, once again, George Lucas desperately wanted to come back and tell a different version, different version of the Jedi, all of that stuff. He wanted to do that, and then he did it. And then he got to a point to where, for whatever reason, he wanted the story to exist in a different way. He was getting older. He didn't have whatever it was to
$4 billion.
Yeah, he was already incredibly rich, but yeah, $4 billion. And you do that. My point with that was that Martin is in a different situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Martin has to hand his child over. Lucas is basically sending his child to college.
Yeah.
Martin has to hand his child over for somebody else to raise it.
And George Lucas was, to your point, you are correct. He was the most powerful person in the Star Wars universe. And once HBO gets Game of Thrones and it's a hit, Martin is no longer the most powerful person in the Game of Thrones universe.
I just wonder, honestly, how they feel, the creators now, about him backbiting them like this.
I mean, it can't be good.
Just because it's a major thing to do for the creator of something like this. This has happened before, to you guys' point. People that have who have created the source material are very rarely happy with what they see on the screen. It just doesn't. They directed the movies themselves.
Yeah.
They made the movie, when they're writing it, they made the movie in their head. Mm-hmm. They know how the beats go. As I'm reading Game of Thrones now, the story is told in a completely different way than it's told in the show. The show is a television show. And even some of the things that he was talking about in the blog post about why the character is missing, he says, well, look, they couldn't work with any more kids. There's budgets and production schedules. None of that stuff is involved when you are writing a book.
Yeah.
The only limit is your creativity. Doing a show, something in live action is just totally different. Mm-hmm. And so he should understand that and understand that that's the trade-off that you make.
He understands that. He just doesn't give a shit.
I clearly.
Well, to me, that is significant. It's significant that he's trying to cut the legs from under the show, or he's trying to erode confidence in the future of a show. and he's the biggest voice, the expert on it.
I would say
my last thing on this is he trying to do that with the creators, or is this Martin also being like, "Hey, yo, Warner Discovery, stop being fucking cheap," like because you
being cheap? They spending what the fuck?
No,
whoa. We needed 2 episodes. Like they did cheat us this season.
Okay, I can understand what you guys are saying.
Like that this deserved 10 episodes at least.
And they was like,
they spending a shit ton of money on this show though. I get what y'all saying though. They did, maybe you could say that they cheaped out by not having to.
But to be fair, also, here's the thing. There's a lie. I'm not shooting anybody any bail over there. But we also do have to realize it was 2 of the most monumental strikes that have happened in Hollywood in years.
Weren't they still going because they were off there in England or whatever?
No, they were, but you have to think they were still handicapped because their writer's room was not there.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying? They couldn't change it. We don't have to get into all that.
Well, look, we'll see what happens. It was just some news that came out, and I was like, oh, well, this how you doing it, George? Okay.
What if you hopped on a beat? What if you hopped on like Euphoria beat?
Like diss track?
Yeah. It's just like, yo, Ryan Coleman,
that'd
broke.
be more writing than he's done.
Hey, you guys, you broke ass motherfuckers. Stop taking characters out that he should do hit them up. Take money. Yo, HBO. Fuck HBO as a staff, a motherfucking network, and the crew. House of Dragon. First off, fuck you too.
My nigga dropped Condo by name.
Condo by name. Ryan Condo, fuck you too. He could be called the butterfly effect. He'd be in that bitch.
Ooh, that's hard.
That's hard.
How to pimp a butterfly.
How to pimp a butterfly effect. He have Ashton Kutcher do like a cameo in the video.
Stop.
I hate the way that you talk. I hate the way you walk. I hate the way that you dress. Just cook.
Ashton, y'all ever see that butterfly fake movie? I never saw that shit.
No. There was an episode of Scrubs that was kind of like that.
That shit is the craziest fucking shit ever, bro. That is a crazy fucking movie, bro. We don't ever talk about the era of crazy fucking movies from the mid 2000s and stuff
What was the Shia LaBeouf one that was also scary that I like?
Disturbia?
Yeah, was that around Butterfly Effect too?
It was a little bit, man.
It might have been like 2007, 2008.
2000.
That was later?
I never saw Disturbia. I saw the Butterfly Effect. I saw Donnie Darko.
Yep.
I saw it's like a bunch of crazy ass white boy.
Disturbia.
Crazy ass white boy movies.
I like Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko's my shit.
Bro, I can't watch Donnie Darko, bro.
Why?
Donnie Darko make you feel too. It make you feel too small, bro. Like I can't.
I had to watch that in a film class one time.
Bro, I can't watch Donnie Darko.
That was
bro.
awful.
Donnie Darko make you feel like everything about Donnie Darko don't make you feel secure. You know,
it's rancid vibes,
bro. Like
rancid.
It makes you feel.
It's bad.
We're leaving class. Everybody's like, just like eyes are like just like this, bro. Awful,
bro.
But Jake Gyllenhaal was cooking in that movie.
He was. We got high at the crib and watched Donnie Darko one time. I remember sitting there like, yo, man, why are we looking at this, bro? Bro, this shit is fucking scary, dog.
And the rabbit keeps
and you just don't feel secure in life when you feel like when you walk out the door, anything can
exactly.
Wait, what's the then we gotta get to the mailbag. What is the worst I got high and watched a movie experience you've ever had?
Oh man, so Donnie Darko is one for sure. There was this one movie from the 80s. And it was with, I think it was called Alice Through the Looking Glass. And it got a character in it called the Jabberwocky.
Yes.
Oh,
and
man.
I watched it when I was a kid. And it fucked with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to conquer fears. So it's like I'm like, yo, let's get high movie. Let's watch Alice Through the Looking Glass. This is at Tech. We're going to watch the movie. And this movie scared me when I was a kid. And they were like, oh my God, this is going to be scary. Everybody Gets High is, because we used to get the girls in the room and we would watch Clueless and like lighthearted movies and stuff that play Mario Kart, stuff that everybody have fun. And then college things happen after that. But it was what happens in college.
Positive, we are sex positive.
Sex positive. I mean, not all in one room.
I was about to say, I'm like, you freaky niggas, bro. I was like, I know it smells in there, bro. Like, God damn.
Not all in one room, but we called
no judgments, sex positive, no judgments if so.
But one day I decided I wanted to watch like Alice through the looking glass, and it fucked the vibes up bad. It was one girl started crying. Like,
nah, bro.
The movie is fucked up. It's a fucked up movie. I swear. I think it was a TV movie. Do y'all know this movie? Y'all too young.
Way too young.
Yeah, the movie is fucked up. And everybody, and one of my homeboys was like, man, that nigga Van can't pick the movie no more.
You scared the hoes?
Yeah, I scared the hoes in real way. It's like, yo, man, I want to, hey, man, y'all want me to walk y'all back to y'all room, man? This nigga Van, bro. Alice in the Glass or whatever, man. Fuck this nigga, bro.
You know the greatest movie I watched?
Because they wanted to watch a high movie, whatever. What was it?
During the pandemic, it was the days of the pandemic where I was scared if I talked to anybody, I was going to die. Had not seen anybody. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get high and watch There Will Be Blood. And the vibe in my apartment I love, like, it's a perfect movie.
It's a great movie.
But I was like, you can't watch this alone. You can't watch this high. I was looking at Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm like, nothing matters. The American spirit is broken.
Bruh,
this experience.
You know what we're going to do? Bruh, nothing angers Kalika like putting on There Will Be Blood. Nothing.
Oh, we got to.
Oh, bro. Next time at the crib, Kalika's around. You want to see Kalika get up and go like straight back to the back? Put on There Will Be Blood. She doesn't understand the love for the movie.
She doesn't?
No, not at all. I love the movie. I think the movie is
Does she like PTA movies? Does she like Boogie Nights?
I don't know if we've ever watched any PTA movies together. I know she hates Punch Drunk Love as well. Hates it. Hates Punch Drunk Love.
She doesn't like PTA.
I don't think she likes it.
We gotta invite Fantasy over and just do a double.
Bruh, I tell her, I was like, look, I need you to give me one more time. Because she'll try other movies. Mm-hmm. She'll like The Godfather.
She likes Tarantino?
Nah, it's not her shit. You know, she's not into that type of shit, bro. Oh, you know what she does like? She likes Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
She didn't like Jackie Brown?
Oh, you know what we did watch? We watched Hateful Eight a couple of days ago.
She liked that?
She liked the Hateful Eight.
Oh, so she does she likes some of them.
She like Django?
We saw that in theaters.
I don't know if I can fuck with Django.
We saw that in theaters.
I can't. It's a little too.
It's a lot going on.
Seeing Django in theaters was not that enjoyable because I saw Django at the ArcLight. We saw it in theaters. Seeing Django in theaters was not that enjoyable because the white people was having too much time.
That's fair.
DiCaprio was too good. Like DiCaprio was too good, and the white people were laughing too much.
They were laughing too hard.
And it was like.
Oh, you saw it? No, I saw it at the ArcLight, and it was like, is that a nigger on the horse? I'm like, yo, what the fuck is so funny? What's so funny about that? What's funny? No, for real. Talk your shit. What's funny about that? Meet me outside.
In the theater?
Meet me outside.
She like Reservoir Dogs?
Nah, she never saw that.
Oh, that's the one.
Would not like Reservoir
Dogs.
I
love Reservoir Dogs,
Let's get to the mailbag.
Let's get to the mailbag.
Man, that's the movie for me. Man.
All right, Jomi, since you are the procurer and the curator of this mailbag segment, I would like you to go ahead and introduce it.
So we put a phone number out there. We say, yo, call, leave some voicemails. We got a lot of interesting voicemails. Some of them were not that nice, but that's okay. I just had to sit through and listen to all of them. So, what can you do?
Motherfuckers sending negative ass.
Wow, they were hot, bro. They were mad. But some people sent some fun ones, some good questions. Kerm, cue one up for us, please.
Hi, Midnight Boys. My name is Brooke, a.k.a. Ocean Silly, across social media, and my question is about X-Men. So I recently watched all of the movies for the first time, but I had actually watched X-Men 97 when it came out, but then I started circling back to all of the movies because of Deadpool and Wolverine. And so I want to know which movie is everyone's favorite. And I think that Kerm should be allowed to answer this for obvious reasons. Love you all.
Yo, Kerm, come on down.
Come on, man.
Come on, Kerm.
I can't just answer from my mic right here.
Just Kerm, this is video, motherfucker.
We trying to put you on some shine. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Kerm, you go first.
Answer it in poetry form.
All right, see, that's what we're
I'm
doing
just joking.
Too much. I'm gonna just answer it from my seat.
Oh my God.
Okay, go ahead. Answer it from your seat. Go ahead.
Best X-Men movie, Days of Future Past, for me. Absolutely.
I would say First Class. I love First Class. Like, when I'm like, yo, I want to watch an X-Men movie, I'm putting on First Class. The relationship between Fassbender, James McAvoy, man, gets me every time. Every time.
All right. My only issue, because First Class is actually a very, very, very good movie. The thing that holds it back is like so many of the X-Men are whack in it.
That's I mean,
like so many of the like Professor X, Magneto, cool. And then there's a couple other
It's like, how do we have Havoc before Cyclops.
Yeah.
I understand why they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really don't get why they do stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I think it is because, because that was like the first, say like a kind of reboot, sequel, whatever. But we already seen those guys. They gotta like introduce the new or at least like, all right, it's new. Let people get to know these other characters. I already seen Cyclops and all that stuff. Like, let's get some new blood.
They just don't do Havoc. It's his brother.
That's fair.
Yeah. So it's really, really between X2 and Days of Future Past for me.
Same.
It's I can't think of one. It's probably Days of Future Past. But X2 is sublime. It's probably Days of Future Past for me.
I think I got to go with X2.
Okay.
I just think X2 was probably. I think X2 has gotten lost in the shuffle, but for a while there, I think X2 was actually when people looked at, not only can superhero movies be really, really good, but they can be serious, and we can do like it's before Dark Knight. It is kind of like that first like, these movies can aspire to be. I don't know if I would call X2 art now, but they can aspire for more things. And honestly, being in the theater and seeing the Nightcrawler opening scene,
it's nuts.
Was one of the most. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, we forget Wolverine versus Lady Deathstrike in the theater. Mm-hmm. That shit was killer. I gotta go.
I wasn't in the theater for that one, so
yeah, he was too young.
I was watching it on Channel 13. That's what
you stealing.
Nah, what? That was regular.
Why are you gonna?
That was regular TV back
Channel
then.
30. Oh, I thought you was stealing illegal boxes and stuff.
Nah.
I mean, you know.
You know what?
Nothing.
Okay. We got another X-Men question.
You'll be a follow-up.
Yeah, the Wolverine one. Yeah.
What's up, Midnight Boys? Pew-pew! My name is Rose, R-O-Z. Listen, I think The Wolverine by James Mangold is the most underrated comic book movie of the last 20 years. I want to hear your takes. Give me your brutal honesty. But think about it for a sec. Don't hate, Charles. Don't hate. Love y'all. Fuck with y'all heavy. Bye.
Wait, so we're talking about the Wolverine.
The Wolverine, not Logan.
Is that the
second
one?
Where he goes to Japan.
It goes to Japan.
So here's the thing.
Silver Samurai.
I wouldn't say it's the most underrated movie.
That's too much dip.
I will say, though, I really like that movie. And I was surprised when it came out. Everybody's like, that sucked. And I was like,
did they say that?
I don't
think, no, I remember.
Maybe not now. Maybe
they
not
didn't
then.
say it sucked. I remember people being happy, but muted. It was a feeling of like, where else is there to go with this character? Because I remember the Wolverine, people were like, oh, this is way better than Origins. At least they got it.
That's not hard, yeah. It's not tough.
But I'll ask you guys this. I never returned to the Wolverine.
I watch it all the time.
You watch it all the time?
Yeah, it's on a lot. And so
FX special.
Okay, let's do this first. FX special, yeah. Let's do this first. What are the most underrated comic book movies? Because he says it's the most underrated. And when you think about it, it is a movie that's really good. I think one thing is it was such a departure from X-Men Origins. Mm-hmm. Serious filmmaker taking Wolverine out of the environment that we knew him in, putting him in Japan, whole new backstory. It was taking that character in a more serious direction.
Yeah.
But before we talk about this, because I think he makes an interesting point, if you really think about it, what are the most underrated comic book movies of the last 20 years?
I like the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy films.
Okay.
I think those are very, very underrated. I'm going through some of the, because I get what his point is. Because to your point, if we're just talking about most underrated, people don't bring up the Wolverine. I think Logan kind of eclipses it in ways. So nobody ever, when he was like the Wolverine, I'm just like, but also, you know what? Can it be the most underrated when the ending of the Wolverine is bad? The robot, I just remember the robot Silver Samurai, and I was like, this is...
I thought it worked for the movie. Yeah, I thought it worked for what it was. You know what I mean? I thought it worked.
Would Batman Begins count as underrated now?
See, that's an interesting one because I do kind of feel like we're to the point with Batman Begins where it's actually underrated now.
Yep.
Because The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises have taken that franchise so much further that we don't think about how good Batman Begins was now. Yeah. I do feel like kind of like it's underrated now.
So maybe not, but Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films.
Underrated?
I think so, a little bit. I think the
Interesting.
Tom Holland movies are not better to me at all, but I do think that because people think that Tom Holland is a more accurate Peter Parker, and because they ended with like bringing them all back, people probably, if you ask most people, they would probably be like, the Tom Holland trilogy is the best. When I'm just like, actually, Sam Raimi's, I think his, especially those first two films, are still kind of better than almost any Spider-Man thing we've gotten outside of Spider-Verse.
But how much does the third one weigh it down, though? Right? I like I don't hate
the third one's not that. I watched
Spider-Man 3 is one of the funniest superhero movies of all time.
Yeah, but you don't unintentionally, though, that's not good.
It wasn't a great way to end that trilogy. The movie just didn't take itself seriously enough.
Yeah.
The movie just like, it got fucking, it's almost like Suicide by Cop. They were done with it. Like, but this is what I'll say. If we're talking about underrated Spider-Man movies, I think the most underrated Spider-Man movie is the Amazing Spider-Man 1 with
Andrew Garfield. I like
Andrew
that
Garfield.
movie.
I think that
It's
not
really good.
two. I think the most underrated. I think honestly, I think underrated superhero movies would be the Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
Then it would be the Wolverine, which I think the mailbagger makes a good point.
I'm warming to it.
And then I think Batman Begins is probably not a bad call there either. I'm trying to think of what else would be in there.
Okay.
Batman Begins not a bad. I think the Doctor Strange movie is a little underrated.
About that one too. Yeah,
I think
the first one.
I think it's a little underrated.
I like the first.
It's hard to have an MCU movie that's underrated though, because every movie gets met with such fanfare.
It's fair.
Oh, now I thought of it.
What?
Man of Steel, a little underrated. I think it's overhated.
Hey, you know what's
it's overhated.
You know what's underrated? Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition.
Fuck out.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Come on now.
I remember leaving Man of Steel, leaving the iPick in Pasadena, leaving Man of Steel going, did they do it? Nah.
I knew. Yeah, there's no way you like.
I was like, did they do it?
No, but it's
it's
overhated now.
It is overhated
because I'm just like, that's actually the only Snyder movie I think that didn't cross the Snyder bubble, and everything after that is his worst inclinations.
Bro, they just had, man, Superman didn't smile in the whole movie.
He was mad the whole time.
The Superman was upset. They destroyed everything. The Krypton stuff is unbelievable. When I tell you unbelievable, all the Krypton stuff in that movie was unbelievable, and Shannon was unbelievable as Zod. It was this dour, hopeless, kind of odd interpretation of the character. It's not bad, but it was like they didn't quite get there in terms of Superman. Underrated comic book movies up. So I can't say that the Wolverine is one, but I can't say that we got to.
That was a good question, because now I wasn't on his side when we started, and now going through it, I'm like, actually, Wolverine is pretty like, I do think it is not the most underrated movie, but I think it could be in a conversation. It could be in the top 10, probably.
All right, let me say one more before we get off this. Is the Eternals underrated?
No. But you know what?
I did that just for Jomi.
We are in.
Is the Eternals underrated?
We are in the doldrums content-wise, hence why we're doing a mailbag. I would do an Eternals rewatch right now.
Come on, I would do an Eternals rewatch.
I would do an Eternals rewatch.
Hey, come to the crib. Come to the crib. Pizza's wings. Kermah not gonna come.
I'm gonna be there.
No.
We already talked about this weekend. Nope, we're not doing it.
Kermah not gonna come.
If it's this Saturday, I'm there. It's already in my calendar.
Like come to the crib. Pizza's wings. We rewatch. Hey, you know what? Reach out to Jomi. Well, we can't do it on Saturday because it's a college football day. Reach out to Jomi. Tell us 3 movies you want us to revisit. We'll let them pick. Eternals is one.
I think Eternals, I'm actually excited. You know, we need to revisit just because the movie is coming out. We never did Joker. We've never actually had a full Joker conversation.
I think we should do it.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Bro, what? Don't
give them the content, Jomi.
I'll
Get
give
the
them
fuck
the
out of
content.
here.
We're gonna do it. You know, like it's no reason.
We do it.
We'll do Joker. Give us more movies that you guys would like to see us revisit. Maybe
And don't make them the good ones. I want what are the comic book movies that you're like, this is my
Ghost
favorite.
Rider.
I'm not doing Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Daddy.
I'm just
Ghost Rider?
I
like Ghost
I had
Rider.
a fucking fun time in the theater. I don't give a fuck what y'all niggas is talking about.
Cage, even Evan Mendes, come on now.
Wes Bentley as Blackheart. I don't give a fuck what y'all niggas is talking about. I had a fun time in Ghost Rider.
It, and I don't want to watch it. I've never watched Jonah Hex. It looks so bad.
I never saw that one either.
I'm not doing that.
Ghost Rider is one we could do too because I like that bitch. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all say. Let's go. Okay. All right.
All right. What's the next question?
Do we want to stick X-Men or you want me to move it?
Nah, we could do the Fandom Blind Spot by Kirk.
Hi guys, it's Kirk. I have one quick question for you. What is your fandom blind spot? Is there something that you've never watched or read that you think you should read or watch? Or do you not care to fill that hole like Bill Simmons does with most of the things the Ringerverse covers? Thanks, guys. Love the content. Have a good day.
So you talked about it a little bit. Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's not like I haven't seen it though. I haven't
That's
seen it.
That's not a blind spot. You've seen it. It's
I've
just
seen
not
it.
No,
messing with it.
Harry Potter is one, if that could count. I've never seen any of the Harry Potters. I haven't seen 5 minutes of any Harry Potter. If I see it on, I'll fucking flip the channel. And that might be because
the Jesus guy.
The Jesus. They indoctrinated me. Yeah. They was doing that. It was a real thing.
What's the difference between the magic in Harry Potter and the magic in Star Wars?
Okay.
Oh, boy.
It's a good question.
It's a great question.
First of all, there really is no difference. I have to be honest with you. I mean, all of this stuff that we talking about is wizards and stuff like that in it.
But it's because they're called the Jedi. And when the black shirt hears witch, they like, all right, man.
That's the thing, bro. Is like that you got essentially Obi-Wan is a wizard. He's a wizard. He's a you know what I mean?
They call Harry's the chosen one. Once you start calling the witch the chosen, it just
Harry, and they also using whenever they actually use spells. See, the Force, really when you use the Force to when you use the Jedi mind trick, really you're casting a spell to make somebody forget.
Yeah.
But when you actually cast the actual spell, when you go zim 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 zaba.
You speaking in tongues.
You speaking in tongues. You casting spells. You calling demons. You doing all of that time. Bro, I never forget, bro. Hey, man. I gotta tell it, bro. Shout out to my little cousin. Was in his house talking about some kind of... What do they say? What do they say for real?
Expelliarmus?
What is it called?
That's not what he said. Don't they say something else?
They say
Avada Kedavra?
Nah, man. It's another one. It's another popular one that he said. His mama was
stupefied?
Bro, his mama like woke up and snatched this little nigga. I mean, I'm not trying to just... Bro.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go over them. Expecto Patronum?
Nah, it wasn't that one, bro.
Of Avada Kedavra.
No.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Was it that one? Was it that one?
I think it's Wingardium Leviosa.
It makes you float?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. yeah.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah, bro. He came through and he kept saying it over and over and over again. We playing the game. His mom, what? She popped up. Get your ass over here. And while bro snatched him the fucking hanger that he was using as his wand flew. Because he had a hanger. He had a brown hanger that he was using as his wand. That bitch flew. And I was like, yo, what is he talking about? And his big brother, we was playing the game. He was like, man, that little nigga obsessed with Harry Potter, bro. But, mama don't want you. She say Harry. She don't fuck with Harry, bro. She say Harry is witchcraft. The little nigga was crying.
God.
Like, bro, I bought him the Harry Potter book later on, bro. Because he loved Harry Potter. But like they really wasn't fucking with it. So I mean that would be mine. What about
Harry Potter? Jomi?
Harry Potter.
You've never read Harry Potter?
No, I never. Except for the chapter they read at school. That was it.
It's the witchcraft Christian shit.
I was into sports back then, like really like basketball and stuff. So it wasn't really like I wasn't locked in at all.
No.
It wasn't there for me. And then by the time it was like, you gotta watch Harry Potter, I was like, there are other things I could be doing. I'm in college now. Like it's time to live my life. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I want to say most of mine would be like probably on the video game side, like probably like Halo, Grand Theft Auto. There's just like a bunch of games that I just didn't play.
You never played no Halo?
I've played Halo before, but I never like I could not do the thing that like where you can sit down and just play a game.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have the attention span to just like sit there and like devote myself. I'm always just like, I got to do something else. So like probably like any of the games that have probably come out, I'm like, I had to go back and like play God of War. Like I went back a couple years ago and like was like, all right, game 1, game 2. Da-da-da.
Halo 2 was responsible for one of the most pathetic scenes that I've ever seen before in my life, to where I realized I needed more out of my life. So we used to play video games, right? We play video games crazy. Like whatever it was after school, after practice, we go over to Dedrick's house, or we go over to my house, or we go over to Ryan's house. We play NBA Live, we play Madden, we play FIFA. When the first FIFA came out for the Genesis, you don't know nothing about that, nigga.
I know about FIFA.
Yeah, when the first FIFA came out, because they had.
Wait, did you play Sonic 2 on Genesis?
A little bit.
I love Sonic 2.
We played Sonic 2 on Genesis.
Also, what was it Shaq? Which one was the Shaq game where you could be like a martial artist?
It was Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu was terrible.
So we would all play the game, and we came up playing the game. PlayStation came out, we came up playing the game. And then there was this one moment that we was all at Ian's house playing Halo 2, and I looked around and I noticed something, that we were all in work uniforms. Like, I was in my Best Buy uniform. He was in a Singular Wireless uniform. One dude was in his uniform from UPS. One dude, like, we got off work and came straight to Ian's house, and everybody was just playing Halo, drinking, doing the thing. Benny from next door was over here. Everybody was in work uniforms, and we playing Halo. We going crazy. And I'm like, I got to do better in life. I can't do this. I could easily look up, I never forget this. I could easily look up and look at this and be like, this could be my life for like the next 10 years.
The Van Lathan biopic, the moment you realized to change your life is you played Halo in a Best Buy uniform. Like, I need to change.
I'm in a Best Buy uniform. I got Izzo's illegal burrito and some chips. Everybody got different little food. And we passing the sticks, but we grown now. We 24 now. We 25 now.
That's
These niggas in that bitch.
Like, I thought you were like that's not bad.
Hell nah. But I was like, and look, a couple of years later, I moved to California. Like, it's like well, we grown now. I'm looking, I'm like,
got to it.
I'm like, bruh, it just didn't feel right. Like, I didn't feel like a kid no more. But we was up at 12 o'clock, 1, playing Halo, going crazy Halo sessions, Halo 2, going nuts. It changed my life. That one moment, I'm like, I got to do something else. Because I can't be in this bitch when I'm 34, 35 years old, still, which I still do play the game all the time. I was playing it this morning. But like, I can't be
during halftime.
Playing it during halftime of the game. Yeah. I'm obsessed with Road to Glory. But that actually changed my life. But that's how much we was playing Halo 2.
God.
Different rules, different maps, all swords. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just all swords was
Did you
crazy.
have a favorite Halo 2 map?
I can't remember. But I do remember, I can't remember the names of the maps, but I do remember, I can describe the map. It was the one map where it was the big tower in the middle. You know what I'm talking about? There was a tower it was a wide open map outside.
Yeah, and it's ground.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I think
there was a wide open map outside. I cannot remember the names of these maps, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, there was a wide open map outside, but there was a tower in the middle where the sniper would go.
Okay.
And there was a little that was my favorite one to play on. There was also the swords one that was basically underground the whole time, like you was in the sewer or some shit like that. But I cannot remember the names of these maps. I'm not even gonna try.
Shout out Halo 2.
It was so much fun, bro.
Halo 2 is great. Let's get to the Blade question.
What's up, Midnight Boys? This is Steven. For the new Blade movie, obviously it's gone through a lot of trouble. And frankly, I'm not sure if there's a director tied to it. But I'm thinking about fan casting some directors to take on the movie. My suggestions are, and I'd like to hear your takes on whether you'd be most interested to see this director take the movie. These directors include M. Night Shyamalan's Blade, T. West's Blade, Robert Eggers' Blade, Jewel Taylor's Blade, and I'll give you one more, even though he probably would never do it. Quentin Tarantino's Blade. Which one would you be most interested in seeing? Thanks.
All right, so we're going to have to go. Can you list them all again? There was Quentin Tarantino, Robert Eggers, M. Night Shyamalan. Get Tarantino out of here. Tarantino.
Wait, hold on. We got to. How many N-words?
Yeah, nah, here's the thing.
Let him cook.
They gonna call Mahershala all types of stuff in that movie, man.
No. And this is nothing against Tarantino. I love Tarantino films, but that motherfucker's not making that many, so I'm not wasting one on Blade. And to your guys' point, I don't need Blade just because here's the thing. You know what? It's not just Blade who's going to be saying the N-word. There's going to be a bunch of like white Marvel characters that's going to be calling motherfuckers niggas. Like, can you imagine?
They bringing Steve back. They bringing.
Can you imagine fucking Chris Evans comes back? He starts calling Mahershala nigga. Like no. Actually, I watched that.
Funny, he goes to the government. We ain't never seen a nigger vampire before. Blade is confused. Blade is like,
oh
what?
my gosh, Samuel L. Jackson, Big Free gonna be in that thing. Oh my goodness, oh my god, that's special.
And remember, there was some talk about setting this Blade in like 1919.
I would.
So if they set the Blade in 1919, and like it's gonna be a whole nigger vampire arc.
Oh man!
Like, I mean, that's literally Michael B. Jordan in whatchamacallit's next movie.
What?
Ryan Coogler?
Yeah.
Nigger vampires? I don't think that's what it is. Is it? It's
set in the past.
So it's set in the past. It's in the olden days, and they vampires.
It's gonna be the greatest movie of all time, bro. It's gonna be the greatest movie of all time, bro.
In Interview with the Vampire, they set him back there, and
it cooks.
And it's cooked.
It's good.
It is fun. It is funny that he has to deal with being a vampire and being black at the same time.
It's hilarious.
He has to deal with. He's in two different classes. He's got to deal with being a vampire, and being black. It's funny.
And he got to deal with being a single dad at one point.
And he got to be, bruh,
man,
single dad, and he's gay. He's a gay black vampire in 19s New Orleans.
I'll be real. If I was Louis, I'm like, bro, I gotta pick one or two. I can't. I'm like that's three. The whole world they hate you because you gay. They hate you because you black, and they hate you because you a vampire.
He can't.
Come on, bro. That's a lie.
They're against him. He can't get the right contracts that he needs to open shit up. It's just and that would be funny to explore with Blade, because Blade is a daywalker. He's the most powerful vampire, right? So Blade, like being on the vampire chitlin circuit, is funny. Oh, that's the Blade I want to see. Really? But I mean, who are the other directors? It was Tarantino.
M. Night Shyamalan. No Shyamalan.
Because it's gonna be a twist. It's gonna be a twist at the end. Shyamalan can't. Nah, it can't.
You want to know? Be the funniest M. Night Shyamalan twist. What if we were like watching Blade, and then halfway through he gets like a vampire disease and he starts becoming light skin?
That's crazy.
Like Michael Jackson.
Blade turns white by the end. Blade turning white by the end would be crazy.
It's Chris Pine.
Yeah, that would be crazy. It starts off as Mahershala, but at the end. But no. Let me tell you, this is the twist. So wait. This is how you do it. So they do Interview with a Blade.
Okay. Interview with a Blade?
Okay. And it's a guy telling Blade's story to the interviewer. It's Chris Pine telling Blade's story to the interviewer.
I'm already in.
M. Night Shyamalan movie, right? Then at the end of it, the interviewer says, "How do you know so much about Blade?" And Chris Pine goes, "I am Blade."
Whoa!
$1 billion.
Because he turned white. Interview with the Blade. He turns white by the end of the movie. That's a great sing. The sunlight disease got to me. I am Blade. Oh my God. And it turns out, and then they get what they want.
Robert Eggers also, I think Robert Eggers is too talented of a filmmaker for here's the thing. You need a talented filmmaker for Blade, but I also do think you kind of need someone who at this point kind of knows what the MCU is. You know what I'm saying? Robert Eggers is not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to let Feige just tell me what to do. You know what I mean? Who would be a director out there who you're like, is talented, on the cusp, could do a good Blade movie, but can work within the MCU system.
Well, I mean, I don't know about work within the MCU because I think this guy has done a lot of good things. But if we're just talking about like what's the popular thing, it's like how hard is a Blade movie to make? It was just like a freaking black half vampire ninja doing stuff, right? I would go with Wilson Yip, the guy who directed the IP Man movies. I think.
Ip Man?
Ip Man.
Ip Man.
IP Man.
IP Man.
IP Man is hilarious.
That's
funny. Donnie and an IP Man.
Robert Downey Jr. as IP Man.
That's how you know Jomi a nigga. Hey, y'all seen that IP Man? That nigga IP Man is crazy. You seen him? That nigga trained Bruce Lee. That nigga trained Bruce Lee for real, bro. They talk about that shit in the movie, bro. Hey, come over tonight and watch that IP Man. Is Ip Man. Van, stop trying to be smarter than us.
Honestly, one day we're gonna have a depressed movies draft, which are the movies you watch when you're depressed. Ip Man is one of them.
I'll just put
I love Ip Man. I love Ip Man.
Ip Man's so good.
Not when I'm depressed.
Bro, I love Ip Man. Ip Man crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Ip Man fight Mike Tyson. I love Ip Man. My barber told me about Ip Man. My barber was
That's
like,
a barbershop movie.
Yeah, it's, hey, bro, you seen that Ip Man, bro? Like, what? That nigga Ip Man, that's all only thing they say. He trained Bruce Lee. He better than Bruce Lee.
Whatchamacallit, who did I'm blanking on the name Monkey Man.
Dev Patel.
I think Dev Patel, actually, like, I'm like, if you give him a budget, he's still a new enough director where I'm just like, you give him a big budget, you give him a canvas, he already basically knows how to make a martial arts movie. I think you could be like, oh.
It's a little bit too much for him right now. I think he needs to get his beak wet a little bit more before he dips into something like that. I'm trying to.
But you're saying, here's the thing. Most of the MCU directors that we kind of grew to love only had like one or two movies under them.
They had,
so the Russos came up through TV, right? James Gunn had done like all the trauma stuff.
How many did Coogler? Coogler had two, right?
Coogler had two. Coogler had Fruitvale and he had Creed.
But Creed did help because it showed he could do action.
Like a big.
I mean, the people who directed the first Captain Marvel
only did one film.
He only did like
you do want to try to have. Does it? Before I say that, let me ask: is it important to have a black director direct Blade or a director of color?
I actually don't. I think the martial arts, it would be great. I think the martial arts of Blade and getting the action set pieces and the vibe, the tone of it are more important than the blackness. Because I don't actually think of Blade as a black movie, but like, I don't think of it in the way I think of Black Panther, if that makes sense. Like, Blade is just a good 90s action movie.
What's the most important part about that movie to get right? Is it the horror aspect? Is it the martial arts aspect? Is it the cultural aspect? Obviously, you want to tell a coherent story, but that's why Guillermo del Toro was so perfect for Blade 2, is because he's got that sensibility that allows him to be able to weave all of those things together. And I guess that's what they're looking for now.
I think it's a tone thing. Because one thing that I think the first two Blades have that no MCU movie has there ever been a cool MCU movie? Like, Blade is cool. Like, Wesley Snipes as Blade is...
I feel like Iron Man.
Iron Man's not a cool movie.
Nah, damn, man.
Iron Man's an entertaining movie.
I mean, that's such like a...
Like,
one in 1,000, 1 in 10,000 type thing.
Dark Knight is a cool movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a
not really.
I think so.
Dark Knight is what?
A cool movie.
You don't think it's cool? Why isn't it cool?
I mean, no. I know because
What you mean cool?
Yeah, like I think it means like when you're like, man, like, shit, man, Wesley Snipes, Blade. This is, ooh, man, like that type shit.
Even when you see the cinematography of the Blade, I'm sorry, going into a club and it raining blood is some sick ass shit where you're just like, no MCU movie does that. Like, they're not there. And I think what they're actually trying to search for is like,
well, there was a Disney thing before. You can't rain blood.
There was a Disney thing, but even the closest that they probably ever got was like Winter Soldier, in terms of just like a movie that you're watching and you're just like, the action, the tone, the cinematography makes this cooler than it is. And like, as the MCU movies progress, they get more poppier, they get more colorful.
Jesus Christ, man. This podcast is like fucking serotonin for me. I was having such a bad morning. Y'all don't fucking... like this, I'm having such a great time right now.
This is a good episode. I'm not hating, but like if you think about the difference between Winter Soldier and Civil War, they're kind of massive. Captain America's world goes from kind of like very small and spy into like Iron Man and Scarlet Witch are like flying around and Spider-Man is quips. Like, what's the last movie that Marvel has done that even could be like a corollary to what Blade needs to be?
I think that's tough because I think Blade exists in a world where we didn't have all this superhero saturation. So Blade could exist on its own without being burdened by like the other things happening around it, right? Like when Blade comes out with the blood spraying in the club, you ain't never seen that before. Oh my gosh, what is this now? Like, Iron Man, Superman, whatever does something like,
yeah. You guys, like I mean, we've spent a lot of time on this. We need to move on, but I'll say this though. This is the reason why they're having trouble making the movie.
Yeah. Because
you don't know how to fit Blade into what the MCU already has, and maybe you shouldn't even try, right? Maybe you shouldn't try. Like, Deadpool and Wolverine obviously is like insanely successful, right? It doesn't really try too hard to be an MCU movie. And it's a detriment to the movie story-wise, honestly, because there's not enough continuity in it. But in terms of, it was the right decision. It was the right choice for them to just make a movie that was kind of a, plot-wise, a nothing burger.
Yeah.
But that delivered on what Deadpool has become. The first Deadpool has a ton of story. The second one has less, and this one doesn't have as much anymore. But it's what people kind of wanted. With Blade, I think the question is like, what do you want from a Blade movie? Because if we're comparing it to the old Blade, then that first one is actually a small, contained, gritty movie. There were zero expectations. Okay. They don't know if they can do that in the MCU.
So, because
they don't know if people want that from the MCU.
But I actually think that is the thing that the MCU
That's a underworld Los Angeles movie.
That's what they need. They need that type of like, oh.
Or is it San Francisco? It's LA, right?
I think is it LA or the Bay?
Couldn't tell you.
Blade 1. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I think if you think, it's kind of that thing when people are like, what does Drake need to do now? What's the thing that people have been telling Drake to do for his entire career? Can you give us the classic rap album that's like 12 tracks, no fat, just rap, just give us the thing. And I think, where's it set?
It says, it says, although most of the filming for Blade took place in Los Angeles, it says that the movie is actually set in New York City.
It's set? I don't think
so.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
But I think what the MCU needs now more than ever is like, can you make a small, contained story that is entertaining from front to back that is just a movie on its own? What's the last MCU movie that you watched that you can remember stands on its own as a movie? Iron Man stands on its own. Winter Soldier stands on its own. Black Panther stands on its own. It's been years.
When you say stands on its own, what do you mean?
Like you can turn it on and it works as a movie in a vacuum without the other stuff. Where it's like, what's the last MCU movie entry we've got that hits that?
You don't feel like Infinity War does?
Every single time I try to rewatch Infinity War, it gets harder and harder.
God damn.
That's gotta be impossible.
It's hard for me to finish them.
Why? I'm interested.
I love what Infinity War does, but I think on the smaller screen, some of the stuff doesn't age as well. And I think, I don't know if Infinity War is actually a movie. That's where I've kind of circled around, where I'm like, it's a great experience, but there's too many things going on in the movie for me to be able to like sit down and be like, oh, I'm invested. Whereas like a Black Panther, I can watch it. I'm like, beginning, middle, end. It's just about these characters. I don't got to worry about anything else. And that's not me saying Infinity War is one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. But to me, you know what it is? It's like listening to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, where I'm just like, I know I'm supposed to like this, but the more and more time that passes, it's like, I know too much about this. I've watched it too many times. It's not actually the thing I love about this artist the most. It's just the biggest. It's like it's the height that they're never going to reach again, where I'm just like, I'd rather watch or listen to the Yeezus or like fucking
Damn, that
late
Yeezus
registration.
is
Like
Yeezus is Russian contract killer music, bro.
Man.
you don't like Yeezus?
Bro,
I don't
Yeezus
know,
is my
man.
favorite Kanye album.
Bro, that Yeezus is like the Taken soundtrack. That shit is it's like a nigga. It's a nigga in the Ukraine, like
People
sharpening
came around
swords
on that
to-
album.
like,
I remember when it
that
first came out.
album
When it came out in
Hey,
2013.
I'm not saying it's whack. I'm just saying, bro, Yeezus is for what's that movie with Chris Hemsworth that came out?
Black Cat?
Nah, the one that came out during the pandemic.
Extraction?
The first, Extraction. You know the niggas he was fighting in Extraction? They listen to that Yeezus, bro. Like,
Would the director of Extraction make a good Blade director? Maybe.
he
The
might.
action?
He might.
You actually, we can move on to the next question. I actually think that's the answer. You probably need like a journeyman action director who is like very, very good. Like, honestly, Extraction type Blade, like a John Wicky type, it's probably just what you need. A lot of good set fucking
Oh,
pieces.
well, your man Chad from I don't know how to say his last
Chad
name.
Stahelski?
Chad Stahelski, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Chad Stahelski would make a really good fucking Blade.
I think he will make a good Blade movie.
Gotta get the script
Good
right.
question.
Gotta get the script
What's
right.
the next one?
We gotta. I'm sure we're running long on time. Let's do a couple more. Let's do the sidekicks question from Vontae.
Yo, what's up, Midnight Boys? It's Avante calling from Chicago. Man, y'all doing God's work, man. Appreciate y'all boys, man. But my question is, so which level of sidekick would you want to be? So you could be like street level, that's probably like a Speedy, Red Arrow type. Or would you want to be like the world threat level to handle the bigger problems like War Machine or Nightwing, Falcon? You know, because they all come with their own problems. So would you want less of the smoke or would you want more of the glory? So y'all let me know y'all thoughts. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right, so if I'm gonna be a sidekick, it's gotta be War Machine. And let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. Okay. So who are the sidekicks he named again?
Can you like War Machine for like one of the like?
Would you be a Robin? Would you be a Superboy or
Okay.
a Supergirl?
Let me tell you why I would be a War Machine. It's because War Machine and Tony have a more even keel relationship. War Machine represents, he's like a major or a colonel. He's a colonel.
Colonel James Rhodes.
So he was, being that he's a colonel, he actually has some sort of authority in the relationship over Tony. Like if you look at Iron Man 2, they're in the little area and he's like, this is where you don't want to be. This is the kill zone right here. This is the kill box. You get out of here. We should go somewhere else. And they're trying to figure it out between them. Like Falcon is different in that, Falcon is like, Captain America goes, where are we gonna go? And Falcon goes, this is where we're going. People that end up shooting at you end up shooting at me too. He's like, you sure we don't want to do this? He says, I do what he does, just slower. I can't be that kind of sidekick. I'm sorry. I can't be that kind of, look, Falcon's about to get his fucking due. It's his time. I can't be that type of sidekick though.
All right, and here's the thing. I think everybody would rush to be like, I would want to be like a Robin or Nightwing sidekick. And the reason I wouldn't is because Bruce Wayne damn near running like the fucking NBA of superheroes, where it's just like you got your prime, you might be Robin for 2 or 3 years, and there's a guy right on your tail. There's a Jason Todd, there's a Tim Drake, there's a Dane. Like, can you imagine?
Man, think about Bruce going to the hood. Pulling up.
Scouting kid. Bruce Wayne scouting young talent.
You think there's a scouts in Gotham, bro? There's like a rivals.
Bruce Wayne pulling up to different orphanages, going to the hood.
He a 4-star. He doesn't have the
Nah, he go to
intangibles.
South America. He's watching them play baseball.
Right,
He's just like,
he's making the kids fight. He's like, that kid over there, see what he said. Like he whispered in the nigga's ear during the fight in Batman vs. Superman. He's making them fight. Alfred, let's go away. Billy Jenkins Jr. He looks like he has the darkness in him. I'm telling you.
But here's the thing. Bruce is also like one of those fickle GMs where he's like, what he wants from a Robin, what type of player
It changes. Yeah.
Like he sees Dick Grayson, he's like, oh, he got all the intangibles. He started young. He's an acrobat. You get to Tim Drake, he's like, I want a cerebral thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, all GM you miss sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You get a
Jason Todd was a miss.
That's what I'm saying. You get a Dick Grayson sometimes, then you get a Jason Todd. You know what
Damien,
I mean?
but you're never going to the league with a Damien. He's too wild. He's too unpredictable.
That's your son. You got to bring him up. It's kind of like the Bronny thing.
That's
You
Bronny.
gotta come
He the
up.
Bronny. He like
You gotta come up. He's gotta come through.
Damien,
I'll
Damien
tell you
is
why.
not Bronny.
Let me tell you why.
Whoa, no.
He's kind of Bronny.
He's kind of
not.
Bronny. Yes, he
Damien
is.
is way too talented.
God damn. Okay,
What?
let's go there.
Damien is the best fighter. Damn near
He is,
that.
but let me tell you,
Well, his grandfather's Ra's al Ghul. That's fair.
But he got a fatal. He likes to kill. He got a fatal flaw. Like he's flawed, is what I'm saying. Because the rest of the Robins was cool. Damien, like, bruh, I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce has come back to the fucking mansion a couple times and Damien been in there killing cats, doing all kinds of crazy shit. Like
Damien loves animals. He wouldn't kill a cat. He wouldn't kill a cat.
Damien likes to. He's brawny because you're bringing him along. Despite obvious flaws that he has.
Oh yeah.
Like you're like he's
not the first pick, but like that's my
as
king.
someone I'm rereading Batman and Son, you are exactly right. Because it's like Bruce already got the team. He got Tim Drake, he got Nightwing. The first thing Tim Drake does, if they're the Lakers, he sees him bring Bronny and he's like, who the fuck is this little nigga, bro?
Whose spot he taking?
Like, it's not mine.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
and like Bruce is trying to be like, he ain't even Robin. We just taking care of him. Don't worry. A couple of episodes later, you like,
nigga.
Hey, yo, start minutes, yo.
Bro, this is my son. Hey, this is my son. We been doing a Robin thing. I know. I got pulled you out. This is my son, nigga. Go fucking wax the Batmobile. Like, go take this McAfee and go debug the computer. It's gonna take you 5 fucking months. This is my son. Nigga.
Oh my god!
All
right, you want to know there's only 2 answers to this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I think the first is you could be a Miles Morales type.
Is he a sidekick though? Does he count as a sidekick? Seriously, I'm asking.
I mean, now we're going from the comics. Honestly, now he is because once they brought him out of the Ultimate Universe and they put him in 616,
Spider-Man,
yeah. But it's like Miles Morales is way cooler than Spidey now. Like, there's nothing you can like. You see his suit, you see the movies,
his powers,
the powers. You like Miles Morales is cooler, but the actual Miles Morales probably not a sidekick. You kind of want to be a Wally West sidekick. Barry Allen, you know what I'm saying? He does his thing. He's the Silver Age, but Wally West is really the Flash.
You also want to have a sidekick that can eventually, if you're gonna be a sidekick, you want to eventually be able to take over the mantle.
Yeah.
A lot of these sidekicks, they're perennial sidekicks.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, Robin is a different sidekick. Robin is like a platinum sidekick. Like it's almost there's no shame in being like Robin, right? There's no shame in being a sidekick.
People love, here's the thing, and also there's a graduation process to Robin where it's at least, you know, you could be a Nightwing, you could be a Red Hood, you could be other things. These other sidekicks out there, Superboy always gonna be Superboy. You know what I'm saying? Supergirl always gonna be Supergirl.
Yeah. Is Superboy a young Superman? Or a Superboy?
He's a clone of Superman.
Well, that's a different Superboy.
You mean like John
which
Kent?
Superboy?
I'm saying because there was, I always understood Superboy in my youth as being a younger version of Superman that started. Then when in the death of Superman, they became, okay.
So there's the original Superboy, which was the stories of Clark Kent as a young Superboy, and a lot of those were like time travel shenanigans with the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah.
Then the second Superboy was Connor Kent, which is a clone of Superman and Lex.
Yeah.
And now you have John Kent, which is the biological son of Clark and Lois.
What was the Superboy that came from the death of Superman story?
That's Connor.
Okay, that's Connor.
And they retroactively, it wasn't until the Jeff Johns Teen Titans run, because originally they were just like, this is just the clone of Superman. And then they're like, no, that's a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor. That came later.
Oh, yeah. Because he can't fly, right?
No, he learned, because originally he couldn't fly. And they're like, he has telekinesis and that's how he flies. And then you get...
Sure.
That was the 90s when they was giving motherfuckers like weird ass powers. I'm like, just the motherfucker can fly, bro.
Let him fly.
All right, what's the last question?
Let's go to Katie for the last one.
Hi, this is Katie from South Carolina. I am a big fan of the podcast, and I have been an active listener since Wiki Season 1. My question is for all the Midnight Boys. If we lived in a multiversal existence, describe at least one variant of yourself that would exist. Thank you for your time.
Jesus Christ.
Bye.
So what's the question?
One variant of ourselves that would exist across the multiverse, like a variant of you. I think it'd be actually really funny if we all did variants of each other. So, like, what would be a variant of Van, you think, that exists across the multiverse?
A variant of Van?
Yeah. He's still at Best Buy. He's still playing video games with zombies.
Yeah.
He never
You're
had
the
that
only
epiphany.
Van that got out of fucking Best Buy.
But see, here's the thing though. If I was still at Best Buy now, I would be like a regional sales manager, like all the way up at the top.
Top.
I'd be at the top. I'd be like, because I was on my fucking way, bro. I was on my way. I was boom, boom, boom. I was, I was coming in that bitch like, root beers, M&Ms, teaching other people how to do it on the floor with sunglasses on until they fired me. But like, but I got to, bro. I started believing my own press clippings at Best Buy. I definitely did.
You gotta hide your old supply at Best Buy?
I stopped doing the little things at Best Buy, bro. I definitely stopped doing the little.
You gotta dedicate yourself to the fundamentals, man.
I did, bro. I stopped, like, they had the little action items, like where you had to like put down. I told y'all this before. You had to like write down what you did, fill it out in like a little computer called Action Center. I just wouldn't do it. It's like, I don't fill that out. I make the big fucking sales. I make the big sales.
Come on, man.
I learned a lot though. I was humbled. I've been humbled a couple of times in my life. I've only been fired twice. Both of them were very humbling. But I've been, sometimes you need to be humbled. I was humbled at Best Buy. I know where Charles's would be.
What would it be?
Red Pill Manosphere Charles.
Oh,
What?
no.
You don't have any of this in you.
Oh,
But
no.
this is your variant. Your variant is Red Pill Manosphere Charles, Top G Charles.
Oh my God.
Charles Top G, Hustler University. Like, it's you.
You was on a Chase Bank scam.
Like you was on a
You
Chase
was doing
Bank
the
scam.
I'm not even gonna lie. I bank with Chase, and there was one motherfucker who's like going to all the ATMs, and I was like, I think that one's broke. He's like, no, don't worry about it, bro. And I'm like, please don't tell me you're doing the Chase.
You doing the
Chase
scam.
scam, bro. I'm like, it's already backfiring on motherfuckers, bro.
I could see Charles with like a mink and the glasses and a hat, and it's like, look, what are we doing here? How are you letting your wife stay out all day with her friends?
Stop!
That would be whatarewedoinghere.com.
I thought you guys were gonna go in the opposite direction. I thought I was gonna be the only evil variant, and every other variant of me
not
is
true.
just super positive,
Nah.
loves comic books. It's like, this was the best movie ever.
Nah, we're gonna we're gonna go eviler.
Yeah.
Evil-
You're the
the nicest.
nicest. You're the nicest.
You're the good one.
You're the
Here's
nicest.
thing. I know what Jomi's is.
What's Jomi's?
Show me. You Cash Cobain in every other universe. you are the horniest motherfucker. And just
Yes.
like women falling off of you. Most sex positive motherfucker. You got Billboard charts.
Right.
Dog.
Chill.
Your ringtone is 50 Cent's Candy Shop. Like you.
Yep. What's your tribe?
Yoruba.
Yoruba, yeah, the Yoruba Yang is Jomi. The Yoruba Yang. Jomi's out there doing the whole thing. Jomi, Adeniran.com. The whole thing, yeah, I'm telling you, that's the thing.
Wait,
What's Steve's?
We got to do Steve's. I was about to say that.
Oh man, what if Steve's the very man? What if he's like really down for like black people, but like I'm talking like John Henry type stuff.
Wait.
John Henry?
What if
John
he
Henry.
is
John
black?
Brown.
John Brown, sorry.
Jesus.
What if
every
he
other
is
Steve
black?
is black?
Every other Steve.
We got
is
the
black.
only white Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, every other Steve. Who would Steve be as a black guy, though?
Who would? Oh my!
Steve will be light skinned.
Whoa. What if every other Steve is a black Republican? Steve is on Fox News. Every other Steve is a black Republican. Every single other Steve is a black
Oh, he's out
Republican.
there. Oh man, he's out there on. Yeah, he's on there Fox News with.
So I was more
Hannity.
so thinking,
Oh my god!
if there was a council of Steves, it'd be very funny if every other Steve brought their significant other and they're all white women.
Yeah,
and our Steve is the only one
got that spicy
who
white
brings a sister and just like, get him.
Steve, I'm telling you.
Council of Steve's looking at our Steve crazy.
Looking at him, they're like, we gotta get him.
But this would be funny. What if Best Buy van, regional sales manager, Red Pill Charles, Orange Star Jomi, and Black Republican Steve all did the Midnight Boys together.
Oh, man.
Oh, my
Generational podcasting.
Generational podcasting.
They would change lives.
Generational podcasting. I come here, I got the Best Buy uniform on, the name tag.
Hey, guys, we got to hurry up, man. I got to shift in about
Arjuna,
45.
honestly, you want to know who Arjuna would be? Arjuna would be like the fucking Carmi. He'd be yelling at us.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck, sit down. Get my shit.
You know what I was going to say? I was going to say that we should do Halloween this year as our variants, but Steve would have to do blackface.
All right. Wrap this shit up.
Hey, thanks for the voicemails.
God damn.
Don't cancel Steve. You gonna get Steve
Can you
fried,
imagine if we get Steve canceled on his week off?
God. Steve would have to do
bro.
black. I was thinking, it's an easy Halloween costume. We should all come in. I wear the Best Buy uniform. I might do the Best Buy uniform anyway. But Steve would get canceled.
Oh my god.
That's a fun episode. Great questions, guys.
Great question. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. Jomi, thank you for getting all the questions together and stuff like that. All right, that is a wrap. Oh, by the way, George R. R. Martin deleted the tweet. He deleted the
blog post?
He deleted it. What do y'all think that means?
Wait, really?
I mean,
He
I
deleted
think
it.
it means
He
that
deleted it.
somebody made the call. It's like,
Big
hey,
HBO?
This is according to Steve, the Turning Point Steve Ahlman. They apparently he deleted the post. That's what Steve says. Can somebody verify whether or not that happened? Like let me see. Let me go to the thing because
Let's just do really quick 1 minute on this. What do you think? Because do you really think that this was like he got some calls being like, "Yo, what the fuck? This is unprofessional."
I cannot see any reason why he would delete it. I'm honest. I mean, I can't see any reason why he would delete it. It's out there now. You can't take it back.
I feel like it draws more attention to it if you delete it.
Yeah. I really don't have a good reason as to why he would delete it. If he was going to walk it back, if he was going to walk it back, he would just come out and say,
he got rid of it.
It's gone.
Damn.
Got rid of it.
So I can't think of any reason why he would delete it.
People have saved
honestly.
it on the web archive. It's obviously like copied, like it's gonna live forever. So ultimately, there's no point deleting it. But a call, his agent, his manager, was like, "Hey, man,
Was it that Beanie moment?
But-
I could feel it in there. Like he's
That's funny. Your handshake ain't matching your smile. That's funny.
The fence called.
Fence
did a sweep.
Bro,
Fence did a sweep.
Bro, that video is so dramatic, bro.
Yo, the turnaround gets me every time.
Every
time he looks over his shoulder and I'm dead.
Meanwhile, Beanie's homeboy is just trying to stop crime. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. In the Feeling in the Air video, in the Feeling in the Air video, is growing older is realizing that Beanie's homeboy in the Feeling in the Air video is actually in the right. He's just trying to stop crime, bro. Like, well, I'm being for real.
Is this real?
Bro, I would never, ever do it, right? I would never. But growing older is realizing that Donnie Brasco, Beanie's homeboy, the undercover people, they're actually just trying to stop crime. Like Beanie's homeboy.
I don't know if I can co-sign this, bro.
I
can't co-sign
this. Every
Can't
part
co-sign
of
snitching.
Every part of the way out is it snitching if you are actually a cop. It's not. If you are actually a cop, it's not snitching. If you are actually a cop, if Beanie's homeboy,
no, this isn't true.
Okay, so
This isn't true.
first of all, in the
This
Feeling
isn't true.
in the Feeling in the Air video,
Okay.
is Beanie's homeboy a homeboy that flipped on him, or is his homeboy actually the police? I can't remember. Because if he's
I haven't watched the full video in so.
if he's the video was very dramatic. If he's by the way, for people who don't know, for the uninitiated, Beanie Siegel has a video for a song called "Feeling in the Air," where he can feel that one of his homeboys is working with the police. Now, if your homeboy that you're doing dirt with is working with the police, then that's snitching.
Like, here's the thing. Every single fucking cop movie, you know what I'm saying? They're just like, damn, this cop flipped. There's a good cop and he flipped on us. He snitched on us. What's the fucking whatchamacallit movie that's all about that?
What you talking about?
Whatchamacallit? He not De Niro.
Talking about Copland?
Pacino. Serpico, yeah, that's the whole thing. He's a snitch.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about though. Because
police can snitch.
They can snitch, but listen to me. There's two different situations. Cops call other cops rats who talk to internal affairs. Nobody likes a rat. You'll be a rat in the military. Nobody likes a rat. So in the Serpico situation, he actually snitched on dirty cops. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if you are a cop and you go undercover inside of a criminal organization,
okay,
and you are like in disguise, technically you're not a rat. You've created somebody who doesn't really exist, right? You're not a snitch because you're a cop acting as a... and so that's all I was asking about.
So to wrap this up, is George R. R. Martin a snitch?
He kind of snitched.
He did snitch.
He snitched a little bit. Yeah. He snitched a little bit. He's
Block
feeling the air video.
Block got hot.
Block got hot.
He had to get out of
there. Yeah. We'll see. Now, this is good. This will keep us talking about it.
For the next 2 years.
Yeah, this will keep us talking about it for the next... George needs to come back every 6 weeks with something.
We should get him on the podcast.
We should get George on the podcast. Okay, that's a wrap. Next weekend, the Midnight Boys return with the White Movie Draft.
Oh, this is going to be a monumental episode. What? So wait, what? Did we decide on categories?
No, we got to talk through categories.
Got to talk through categories.
And for the listeners, we are drafting what we perceive as the whitest movies of all time.
Whitest movies of all time.
What we think white audiences love, that if you are not white, you're kind of like, what's it about this?
Should we dress up? Should we all come as like in white people clothes?
Maybe. Real close to getting fucked over. But we could get fucked over if we go too far. But the only thing I'll say is there are some white movies that I'm going to put on my list that are very white that black people like.
I mean, no. I think black people and any person of color can like the movies, but I think it's all about white people liking the movies or loving the movies too much.
Too much. Interesting.
Okay, well then you start to open up like a whole there's a lot of movies for black people, for people of color, white people love. You know what I'm saying?
See, mine is just gonna be about this is gonna be the interesting part about the draft. We're gonna do specific explanations about why the movies are so white. Yeah. We're gonna have like 60 or 90 seconds after that. Because some of these movies that I'm saying are white have white leads but mad black people in them. There's one movie that I'm thinking of right now. It's a very white movie. Makes no sense that the movie is so white. It's very white coded. Okay. But there's I love these. There's one white movie that's dumbass white, but it is a hood classic. Okay. Super
Leave
white.
It out. Which one is it?
No, well, no, you don't want to spoil it.
It's super white, but it's a hood classic.
All right, my last question. Can we pick a black movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That the black community does not cherish, but the white community is like, that's
yeah.
Absolutely.
Does Steve draft first in this one? Or?
I think we gotta stick with tradition.
Yeah.
The last shall be first, the first shall be last. All right. Next week, White Movie Draft. Our producers are Steve, the architect, Ahlman, Jomi, the explainer, Adeniran on socials. Hashtag Jomi Ronaldo Adeniran. I think that's from last week.
That's from last week, yeah.
Keep it. Additional production from Arjuna, Ramgopal. Shout out to Aleya, O'Brien, Zenieris, Chocolate Drop, Top Swoop, Jonathan Kermah on the ones and twos over there. Chuck, take us out.
Thank you for the questions. The Midnight Boys never play fair. Sorry to George R. R. Martin, because he can feel it in the air.
Is he ever gonna, and obviously I missed everything where he said he's not gonna do that. He's never gonna be a criminal. That's what what's his name said.
That's what Todd Phillips said?
Mm-hmm.
It's unserious.
He's never gonna be a criminal. He's like, what this, so it's like, and literally when I thought that this was gonna be him meeting Harley Quinn, he's gonna do some criminal shit, and he's not a criminal.
If I'm predicting, I do think this is all mostly gonna be internally within Joker's head, and it's going to be him at the trial for all the shit that he did in the first film. So I don't think he's gonna be planning anything. That's gonna be
just out there vibing.
Then we had all kinds of conversations about who the Joker is, and this is not that Joker. And I'm like, So it's not the Joker.
No, clearly not.
Because the Joker is a criminal. And it's like,
technically, this guy is a criminal.
He is. Yeah, you're right. He is a criminal. He's criminally killed.
But he doesn't kill that many people. He kills like 2 or 3 people.
He killed like, what, 4, 5 people?
No, he kills Robert
3 people on the, he just kills De Niro, kills 3 people on the train.
He killed the big guys in the apartment.
And, the guy's in the apartment. Did he kill his mom?
No, he killed one guy in the apartment.
That's right. So
and then he killed his mom. So that's
like 6.
I mean, yeah, so he's killing.
He's killing.
All right, let's do it. We got to talk about this. We do.
There do. This is a big episode.